Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt it? A low-frequency hum beneath the noise of your everyday life. A vibration that seems to be getting stronger, more insistent. That feeling is not in your head. It is the sound of a cosmic clock ticking, the sound of a promise and a deadline. That deadline has a name: July 10, 2025. This date is not an event to be watched. It is a filter that will pass over humanity, and it is designed to separate those who are anchored from those who are adrift. When the divine whispered, everything shifts on July 10, it wasn't for public spectacle. It was a private memo sent only to the souls who have begun to cultivate the profound inner quiet needed to receive it. Your life is a constant barrage of signals pulling you outward. What to buy, who to be, what to fear. The world wants your attention because it profits from your distraction. But the most important event in your lifetime is not happening on a screen, it's happening inside your own spirit. So many are waiting for a miracle. They expect a booming voice from the heavens, a sign so loud it cannot be ignored. But the divine does not shout to be heard over the noise, it waits for you to turn the volume down. The whisper that precedes the great shift is not a threat, it is an invitation. But only those who have made their inner world their priority will even realize they've been invited. A divine whisper isn't registered by the ears, it is recognized by the soul. To feel it, you must first create a space for it. You must evict the loud tenants in your mind, the ego that needs to be right, the fear that replays old stories, the desire that is never satisfied. The reason most will be caught by surprise on July 10 is that they are listening for what they want, not training themselves to hear what is true. You must understand this. When your mind is full of opinions, it has no room for truth. When your heart is full of expectations, it cannot receive a gift that arrives in an unexpected package. This is the secret of the ancient masters and mystics. They practice stillness not because they are passive, but because they know that divine power does not pour into a full cup. It requires emptiness. There is a deep silent work that must happen first. A deep sea diver doesn't just jump into the abyss, they acclimate to the pressure breath by breath, meter by meter. Your spirit must acclimate in the quiet depths of your being for the moment of profound change. Many imagine transformation is a lightning strike, but the kind of change that redefines a soul's trajectory. That process starts long before the visible world cracks open. It starts when you begin to honor the subtle nudges from within, when you choose discipline over a fleeting comfort, when you start curating your thoughts like a garden, when you choose silence over the need to win an argument. These are not small acts. They are the evidence that your inner self is responding to a cosmic invitation. And what is this invitation? It is the voice of your own destiny, calmly saying, get ready, get right, get real. It whispers because true power doesn't need to yell. Whispers are for those who are listening. A master shipbuilder does not wait for the storm to be announced on the news. He feels the shift in the wind and the tide and begins reinforcing the whole in the quiet of his workshop. The same is true for you. You are being called to reinforce your spirit for a shift that will not ask for your opinion. It will not be on the front page, it will simply arrive. And when it does, it will not reward the loudest or the wealthiest, it will elevate the most aligned. Think of a compass. Its only job is to point north. It is simple, silent, and true. But if you place cheap magnets next to it, the magnet of ego, of resentment, of insecurity, the needle will spin uselessly. Your soul is that compass. The world is full of cheap magnets. The preparation is the act of removing those interferences one by one. When July 10 arrives, the world will see some people navigate the chaos with a strange, unshakable calm, while others, who seem to have everything, will be thrown into a panic. The difference is not luck. It's that those who were ready had already cleared their inner compass. They didn't need the storm to tell them where north was. They were already walking in that direction. The world demands proof before it will believe. But the spiritual path is the opposite. You must believe in order to become the proof. If you're forever waiting for a sign, you will never be the sign. The whisper is not a piece of information to be stored, it is an activation code. It is meant to make you rise, act, and purify your life of everything that is not in alignment with your highest truth. This whisper is an act of grace. It is the chance to get ready before the final exam is handed out. You don't need the sky to fall to start preparing. You only need to feel that persistent pull in your spirit and finally have the courage to follow it. This is why stillness is so potent. Not because it's relaxing, but because in the absolute quiet, you can finally hear the instructions that are drowned out by daily life. Some truths can only be delivered to a still heart. So, you must train, not in how to speak your mind, but in how to quiet it. You must ask yourself, when life pushes you, do you react on instinct or do you pause and respond with intention? When anxiety surfaces, do you distract yourself or do you breathe into it and listen to what it's telling you? When the masses are running in fear, do you follow the herd or do you stand still and check your inner compass? Those who heard the whisper know that a life of wisdom is not about reacting, it is about responding from a place of deep alignment. But you cannot respond from a place you have not cultivated. Most people are slaves to reaction. Their buttons are easily pushed. Their peace is fragile. Their sense of self is borrowed from others' opinions. So when the real storm hits, they will be tossed about like ships without rudders. They will cry out, "Why didn't God warn us?" The truth is, He did. He whispered. But they had their headphones on, listening to the world's noise. Discipline is the art of building your inner structure. It is not self-punishment, it is self-respect. A master architect doesn't add decorations to a weak foundation. He builds the foundation first, deep and strong. Your preparation is happening right now, in the choices that seem insignificant, how you start your day, the words you use, the content you consume, the thoughts you entertain. These are the bricks and mortar of your inner temple. And when the winds of change blow, only the temples built on the foundation of truth will remain standing. The whisper also tests your sincerity. Many people collect spiritual knowledge like trophies. They can quote the masters, but their lives do not reflect the teachings. Knowledge that is not lived is just a heavier form of ego. You can talk about love, but do you act with compassion? You can speak of peace, but do you create drama? The whisper is not for the mind that collects, it is for the spirit that embodies. And the spirit can only hold a truth it has become humble enough to serve. You must let go of the addiction to being seen, the need to win, the craving for validation. These are all forms of static that jam the frequency of truth. When July 10 arrives, the world will see what was built in the dark. But those who trained in stillness will not be surprised. They will not scramble. They will take a deep breath and keep walking their path. Why? Because their sense of direction comes from an inner GPS, not from external road signs. Their stability comes from daily practice, not from a stable world. Their peace comes not from an absence of chaos, but from the presence of a deep, unshakable purpose. And this is what the whisper is truly about, activating your purpose. The divine call is not for your entertainment, it is for your evolution. But you cannot evolve while clinging to your old self. So many are praying for rain while holding up an umbrella of resistance. They want to fly but refuse to let go of the weights. You cannot ascend while holding on to what is holding you down. The whisper is an invitation to finally drop the baggage, the old guilt, the tired resentments, the story of your wounds. Only then will you be light enough to rise. So listen with your soul, not your ears. See with your awareness, not your eyes. Navigate by alignment, not by sight. If you feel that inner knowing, that sense that the world is on the cusp of something immense, something transformative, do not dismiss it as anxiety. Do not put it off until tomorrow. Your training begins now, in your next breath, in your next choice, in your return to your own quiet center. The whisper before the storm is not something you are meant to find, it is something you are meant to become. And those who become it will not fear the storm. They will walk through it as if it were a gentle spring rain, because they will be carried by a force far greater, the powerful, loving current of the divine. True readiness does not begin when the danger becomes obvious, it begins when the soul senses the change in pressure, and what the distracted eye will never see, the trained spirit has already felt. There is a fundamental gap between reacting to life and aligning with it. The person in reaction is always a step behind, always trying to catch up, always shocked when things fall apart. But the person in alignment is never truly surprised. They may not know the exact details of what's to come, but their intuition, their inner state, their dreams have already given them the weather report. That subtle, persistent feeling you've had that something is coming. That's not a flaw in your mind, that's a feature of your spirit. That is your own soul whispering to you, it's time. Get your house in order. What unfolds on July 10th, 2025 is not a random occurrence. It is a spiritual payday. It is the moment where all the energies, choices, intentions, and consequences that have been accumulating finally reach a tipping point. The world may see it as a sudden crisis, but the wise will know it is simply the fulfillment of a law that has been in motion for eons. The universe is a perfect accountant. Every thought has been weighed, every choice recorded, every act of kindness and cruelty noted. The scales of justice have always been balancing silently in the background, and on sacred days like this, the scales tip publicly. Not for punishment, but for correction. What you nourish grows. What you ignore withers. What you prepare for, you will master. Preparation is not a single act, it is a way of being. The people who will stand strong and centered on July 10 will not be the ones who have a sudden spiritual awakening that morning. They will be the ones who have been walking the long, lonely, and often invisible road of inner work. The ones who chose integrity when no one was checking. The ones who chose forgiveness when bitterness was easier. the ones who guarded their inner light when the world offered them the comfort of darkness. These are the souls who prepared, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. They knew that you don't learn to swim in the middle of a flood. You must already be a strong swimmer. You cannot learn to be grounded when the earthquake is happening. You must already have deep roots. And how do you prepare? Not by acquiring more, but by releasing more. Not by building bigger walls around your life, but by strengthening your inner core. Look around. People are frantically accumulating things: money, status, followers, experiences. But what is the true value of these things? When the very vibration of reality begins to rise, what good is a trophy in your hand if your own spirit is too heavy to lift? You cannot cheat spiritual physics. When the energetic tide rises, only the light will float. You must let go. Let go of the bitterness. Let go of the need to be right. Let go of the pain you've been nursing like a treasure. This is the work. This is the purification. Because when the energetic curtain is pulled back, and it will be, everything that is hidden will be illuminated. You cannot fake peace. You cannot fake integrity. You cannot pretend to be aligned. On that day, the frequency you emit will be your only resume. The world will react. It's what it's programmed to do. It reacts to headlines, to fear, to pleasure. But the prepared spirit does not react. It responds. The spirit knows that divine timing is not based on a calendar, but on energetic readiness. When God said everything changes, He wasn't talking about your 5-year plan. He was talking about your soul's curriculum. There are seasons in your life you do not choose. They choose you. And the season that is approaching is not a season of wishing. It is a season of being. It is not for the mind that hopes, but for the soul that has done the work. You must ask yourself, honestly, am I still making excuses? Am I still waiting for the world to change first? Am I still debating with my own inner truth? The time for debate is over. The time for embodiment is now. This preparation will be unique for each person. For one, it will be finally choosing stillness in a life addicted to stimulation. For another, it will be finally facing a trauma they've spent a lifetime running from. For some, it is the radical act of cutting ties with people and situations that drain their life force. For others, it is the holy work of forgiving someone or themselves. These are not small adjustments. These are inner revolutions. These are the very acts that build a reality within you that does not crumble when the world outside you begins to tremble. And it will tremble, not to destroy you, but to reveal you. All that is false will fall. And when that great unveiling comes, you will see two kinds of people: those who are horrified by the truth, and those who have made truth their home. When a seed is buried in the dark soil, it does not panic. It instinctively knows that the darkness is part of its journey to the light. It trusts the process. In the same way, your preparation has likely been happening in the dark, in the quiet. Maybe you haven't understood why you've been pulling away from old friends. Maybe you've wondered why you've lost your taste for drama and meaningless chatter. Maybe you've felt a call to be more alone, more quiet, more real. This is not you being antisocial. This is your spirit aligning. This is the deepest part of you responding to the coming shift. It's as if your soul is already packing for a destination your mind can't yet see on the map. That is a good thing. Let the soul lead. The mind is a good servant but a terrible master. Many will try to cram for the test at the last minute. They will binge watch spiritual videos, desperately try to meditate and rush to get right. But you cannot microwave spiritual maturity. You cannot fast-track alignment. You cannot cram for the final exam of the soul. These things are forged in the fires of daily, consistent practice. If you have already begun this work, even if you feel imperfect, even if you stumble, you are already ahead of the curve. Keep going, keep choosing, because the energy of the new world will not be carried by the old self that refuses to change. The coming shift is not interested in the mask you wear for the world. It is only interested in the truth of who you are. And that truth is either free or it is trapped. The preparation is the act of setting your own truth free. Every master polishes their instrument long before the concert, not out of fear but out of respect for the music. The spiritual warrior is always prepared, not because they love conflict, but because true peace is a byproduct of inner strength. On July 10, the relationship between peace and strength will be tested. Those who have no inner strength will be crushed by the speed of events. Those with no inner peace will be consumed by the chaos. So you must train both now. Train your mind to find stillness in chaos. Train your heart to respond with grace under pressure. Train your body to be a vessel of disciplined energy. Train your spirit to trust the process even when you can't see the path. Let go of the illusion that you have plenty of time. Your next moment is not guaranteed, but your present moment is always available. And in this present moment, you have all the power you need to build. Build the habits that fortify your soul. Build the boundaries that protect your peace. Build the inner sanctuary that no outer storm can breach. And what about those who hear this and scoff? Those who say, it's just another Tuesday. They are the ones who are choosing to be surprised. Not because they were not warned, but because they preferred the comfort of their denial. Denial is not a shield, it is a blindfold, and when the truth arrives, and it always does, it does not care if you are ready, it simply reveals what is. If you have done the work, you will recognize it as a liberator. If you have not, you will experience it as a destroyer. The choice is not God's, it is, and always has been, yours. So prepare, not in a state of fear, but in a state of reverence. Prepare not because the world is ending, but because your world is about to truly begin. Prepare not for the world's judgment, but for your soul's graduation. There is an elegance that comes with readiness. There is a power that is unlocked by alignment. There is a peace that can only be found in surrender to the divine will. And this peace is not discovered out in the noisy world. It is forged inside you, in your discipline, in your breath, in your integrity, in your silence. Do not look to the world for your security. Security is an inside job. It is in how you navigate uncertainty. It is in the kindness you show when you have nothing to gain. It is in the courage you show when your fear is screaming. Every single choice you make today is a vote cast for the person you will be on that day. Every time you choose discipline, you are preparing your soul to handle a higher voltage of energy. Every time you say no to that which weakens you, you are saying yes to your own becoming. There are two ways to arrive at July Hanvei: in shock or in alignment. One path leads to confusion and fear, the other leads to clarity and purpose. And that clarity doesn't come from predicting the future, it comes from mastering your present. The energy of that day is already on its way. The tide is pulling back. You may not see it with your physical eyes, but your soul feels the water receding. Trust that feeling. Do not ignore it. Do not numb it. Let it be the fuel for your practice. Let it be the force that pulls you deeper into your own truth. Let it be the final reminder the work you do in silence is never, ever wasted. It is being recorded. It is being compounded. It is being invested in the bank of the universe. And when the world begins to shake, you will stand firm. Not because you were lucky, but because you were not waiting for the world to save you. You were busy becoming your own savior. You were not reacting. You were ready. You were not looking for a safe harbor. You were becoming one. There is a profound error in modern thinking about how real change occurs. People believe that wanting something, that affirming it, that visualizing it is the work. They think setting an intention obligates the universe to deliver. But the laws of reality do not respond to your wishes, they respond to your being. Energy does not follow your words, it follows your frequency. When the divine declared that everything changes on July 10, 2025, it was not a memo for the hopeful, it was a signal for the aligned, those whose thoughts, words, and deeds have been forged into a single, coherent truth. The fatal mistake is to confuse the desire for a thing with the readiness to receive it. But the universe, God, the Tao, it doesn't listen to your stated goals. It reads your energetic signature. You can declare you want peace while your inner life is a battlefield. You can affirm abundance while your actions are rooted in scarcity. You can claim you want to ascend while refusing the discipline that makes you lighter. This is the core disconnection. This is why the divine signal is only received by those whose daily reality, their habits, their inner talk, their unspoken choices, are harmonized. That harmony is not achieved by thinking about it. It is forged through alignment. Alignment is not a performance. It is not acting spiritual. It has nothing to do with the crystals you own or the yoga pants you wear. True alignment is invisible to the world but is blazingly obvious to the cosmos. You cannot lie to energy. You cannot negotiate with resonance. You either vibrate at the frequency of truth or you do not. And when that energetic gateway opens on July 10, 2025, it will not care what you hope to be, it will only amplify what you currently are. This is the great unvarnished law of spirit. Energy amplifies being, not intention. Your personal energy field is the key that will either fit the lock or not. The quality of your inner world is the only metric that will matter. This is why the true preparation is not about learning more or saying more, it is about becoming more. If you say you want peace but you consistently choose gossip and conflict, you are broadcasting a fractured signal. If you claim to be ready for love but your heart is closed by resentment, you are broadcasting a fractured signal. If you call yourself a healer but you judge and condemn others, you are broadcasting a fractured signal. These are not minor inconsistencies, they are deep, structural cracks in your being. And when a flood of high-frequency divine energy washes over the planet, it seeks out coherence. It flows through those who are whole. It elevates those who are honest, not flawless, but ruthlessly honest with themselves. The world may reward the loudest voice in the room, but the universe promotes the most coherent soul. There is a sacred math at play. Your thoughts are your word, plus your action tell your being. If your thoughts say, I am powerful, but your words are full of complaints and your actions are timid, your being equals confusion. If your thoughts say, I trust the universe, but your words express constant worry and your actions are controlling, your being equals contradiction. No matter how many times you write down your affirmations, if your being is out of tune, your frequency will not match the coming wave. And a boat that cannot match the speed of the current is capsized by it. The planet is not just shifting politically or socially, it is ascending vibrationally. The changes are not designed to benefit the smartest people, they are designed to benefit the most aligned people. This is why many who appear successful and prepared on the outside will be shattered, while some who have been quietly, diligently doing their inner work will rise with an unexplainable grace. There is a velocity to spiritual energy that only a still heart can handle. There is a clarity to its light that only a humble soul can withstand. And on July 10, when this energy intensifies, your level of alignment will not be a choice, it will be a revelation. For many, this will feel like an unbearable pressure. It will feel like being exposed. Because when the vibration of truth rises, everything built on a lie is shaken until it collapses. This is the great spiritual audit, and it's an open book test. It will not ask how many spiritual books you owned. It will ask, did you live by the wisdom you read? It will not ask how many followers you had. It will ask, were you a follower of your own truth when no one was watching? It will not ask how eloquent your prayers were. It will ask, how quiet was your soul to listen for the answer? Alignment is silent, but its impact is world-changing. True alignment is built on 3 pillars: integrity, discipline, and surrender. Integrity means your inner and outer worlds match. You live your truth even when it's inconvenient. You keep the promises you make to yourself. Discipline means you are the master of your energy, not its slave. You choose your response instead of being hijacked by your reaction. You do the necessary work, especially when you don't feel like it. And surrender means you release the illusion of control, not from weakness, but from a place of profound trust. You stop trying to force life to fit your timeline. You align with the divine current and trust where it is taking you, even when your mind cannot understand it. Most people try to wrestle with energy. They try to hustle their way to enlightenment. But force creates resistance, flow creates power. Your job is to become a clean channel. You must remove the blockages, the ego, the fear, the resentment, the comparison, the impatience. These things choke your spirit, and when the frequency of the world shifts, a choked spirit cannot breathe. But when you are aligned, you are like a perfectly tuned instrument, empty of self, clear in tone, and ready to play the music of the divine. A sacred moment is unfolding. Just as a flower does not bloom on its own schedule, but on the schedule of the seasons, so too does your soul have its season of blooming. But you cannot force the bloom, you can only tend to the roots. Your roots are your daily discipline. Your roots are your moments of silence. Your roots are the unseen choices you make that define your character. What you do when no one is watching determines your strength when everyone is watching. And on July 10, the divine light will not just shine on the world, it will shine through you, or it will be stopped by you. There is no middle ground. Energy does not negotiate with blockages. It either flows through a clear channel or it shatters a brittle one. That is why this moment, this breath right now is the only training ground you have. Not tomorrow, not when you feel inspired. Now, the law is brutally simple. You will rise to the level of your being, not your wishes. You will receive in accordance with your readiness, not your requests. And you will be known not by what you claimed, but by who you became. You have to ask yourself, have I become a person who is strong enough to hold this next chapter of truth, of light, of responsibility? Or am I still just hoping the world will change so I don't have to? The divine energy is not waiting for you. It is you who are being called to be ready for it. The current has always been there. The question is, are you a vessel that can hold it? Or are you a leaky bucket, losing your power through scattered thoughts, unconscious habits, and emotional drama? Your capacity to hold divine energy is the definition of spiritual maturity. And maturity is not about age, it's about alignment, about accountability, about choosing your evolution over your ego again and again and again. On July 10, the pulse of the divine will quicken. Some will rise with it, because their inner structure is coherent and strong. Others will shatter, because their foundation was made of sand. You must build your inner temple now, not with words but with choices, not with theories but with actions. You must clean the lens of your perception. You must organize the furniture of your soul. You must open your heart and let the light do its work. Because sacred energy does not force its way into chaos, it floods into order. Not the order of rigid control, but the beautiful flowing order of alignment. And this alignment demands a ruthless, loving honesty. You must look at your own life and ask, where am I out of tune with my own soul? Where am I still performing? Where am I still choosing comfort over my own becoming? The answers may sting, but they are the keys to your freedom. You cannot fix what you will not face. You cannot align with the truth you are pretending isn't there. But when you do, when you see yourself with total clarity and love yourself enough to do the work, the entire universe conspires to support you. Not as a reward, but because you have finally tuned yourself to its song. And this is the final secret: alignment is not a destination you arrive at. It is a state you return to, moment by moment. Every breath is a chance to come back. Every choice is a chance to retune. You are an instrument, and you don't just tune a guitar once. You tune it every time you pick it up, with care, with presence, with reverence for the music you are about to create. When the sacred day comes, the world will not transform you, it will expose you. The flood of energy will not create your character, it will magnify it. And so, the most important work you will ever do is not to hope, not to fear, not to predict, but to align. Not in your mind, but in your life. Not for an audience, but for your soul. Not to impress God, but to express God. Because in the end, it will not be your goals that see you through the storm. It will be your groundedness. It will be your stillness. It will be your alignment.